Okay, so before we do the other stuff, I was thinking maybe it's a good idea now to do some of the optimization things, because it's just gonna make some of the other stuff we have to do a little bit faster down the line. Write out a couple Redshift proxies for some of our stuff, especially the ground and the rocks, which are the main things that, well, those are static, and it kind of makes sense to write those out as Redshift proxies. So essentially what a Redshift proxy sort of does is it sort of, when Redshift needs to render, it needs to do a whole bunch of stuff to the geometry to sort of package it as a as an object that's renderable by Redshift. What you can do is you can also write out an object as a Redshift proxy, and then make sure it loads that at render time, because then a lot of the work is already done, and you have a little bit faster startup times, which are IPR and stuff. I'm not going to do that for every object, but we have a couple of things that are sort of, well, kind of stay static, right? I mean, we have the terrain that sort of stays static, and we have scattered rocks. And I mean, we can sort of prep those to be able to be rendered by Redshift. So you can export those on multiple places. We can make a Redshift proxy output over here, but we can also do it in the out network and type proxy. So let's just do it over there. And for this, let's make this our terrain. And then it has options here for our archive. So what it's going to ask is our SOP path for our SOP to export. So it's going to be this thing. And then we're going to say $root, because that's, of course, the variable that we set, /assets. So if we browse, it's going to be our assets folder. So you can see there's our root, assets. We don't have, do we have $root set? Flip assets. Yes, that's fine. Okay, so $root /assets and type /rs proxy, and then maybe say terrain, and then terrain underscore v1 v01 underscore, and then .rs. It doesn't need to be sequence, so we can just do it like this. So you need to type .rs, that's the extension for Redshift proxies. And essentially now we should be able to say render to disk. As you can see down there, it's going to do a thing. So that cached it out. So now we should have an archive. So you see we have a Redshift proxy there. Let's copy and paste this thing, and now let's make one for our rocks. Let's go to our rocks. It's going to be those. Let's plug this one in there. Make this the rocks. Rocks v001, render to disk. All right, now let's load our proxies. So what we can do is select our ground, or our terrain, and go to proxy, enable proxy file, and then we can load it in there. But we could also copy and paste this file path here, so then we don't have to manually do it. So just relative references. So now this thing should be loaded as a proxy. I'm not seeing it specifically. Let me just select it like this. Let me just make a null here, now we can check. So if I'm going to make a null here, then no output. And if I enable proxy here, display mode mesh, and for some reason our proxy is not working, so let's just hide some stuff. See exactly why this is not working. Oh yeah, we need to make a shift back proxy, I think. It should work with the just the override here. Let's try here. Let's go in the tab. Let's do a proxy. Oh yeah, Redshift proxy sub, that one needs to be in there. Sorry. So go to terrain, proxy sub. All right, so let's highlight that one. You can see we can enable it. Oh, we linked the wrong one, so we need to link the terrain. All right, so you can see mesh. We can also display it as points. Let's just do it as mesh. Do the other one. Let's also get a proxy sub in the scattered rocks. Just highlight that one. Let's go to proxy, enable proxy, copy parameter, paste relative references. So you can see, then we can also should be able to, oh, we need to, of course, it's outputting the wrong thing. Right, so now as you can see, it's loading these points. Right, so now we've written those out as proxies, and it should help our startup time. Maybe not by that much, but it's definitely going to be a little bit faster. So we can maybe have a go at it. Go to Redshift render view. Let's just try rendering our terrain. And you can see it's looking the same as before. So it still took a while, but generally it saves a little bit of compute time when you're using proxies. So I just wanted to put that in the video as well. I ended up rendering my main scene without proxies, but it does save some time. And if you're using proxies, we're going to do that later. By default, it uses up all of the settings that were in here. And if we're going to do some overrides, we need to specifically tell it to sort of do it in here. You can also load in an entire scene as a proxy, for example. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can exclude objects in it, so it can be quite useful. So yeah, those were proxies. So let's continue.